Hello and welcome everybody to the podcast before the show, not the post-show podcast. This is the pre-show podcast. Yeah, we're doing that. So I am your host Jim, along with some friends tonight. We have Leo, aka Elliot Parker, or Alyssa, I believe Mercho is how you say that.
Mr.
Jinx,
Marceau,
a-
yes.
we've got Jinx, aka Steven Jackson, in the building as well, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Trey Golden. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
I am doing fantastic. A little bit tired,
Oh,
long day at work, but we're here.
Can't complain.
of course, of course. Well, listen. By the way, I say night because we're doing this night before. Obviously this is going to air tomorrow, which would be Saturday, which
And I'm not
is
gonna
now
sleep
when
until
you're
then.
listening to it. Oh, you're not? Oh boy.
No, well, I'm
Oh,
juiced.
he's juiced. He's ready. He's ready for some certified greatness. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. This card, I believe, is 8 matches. We're going to start with the women's future investment. We're going to go lightning round. We want this to be quick. So I'm going to start off. I want everybody to go around, and I'll start with Leo here, aka Elliot. Uh, with your winner, you can give a quick synopsis, and we'll go to the next person.
This
So,
one's gonna be pretty straightforward for me. I'm picking Junko Jirota, and that's simply because like there's not really much of a super competitive advantage when it comes to ladder matches. So I'm just picking the person that I want to win, as well as just like I just can't wait to see what Junko does with the briefcase afterwards because I know it'll be thoroughly entertaining.
excellent, excellent. Let's go to Trey.
So unfortunately, I'm not gonna pick who I want to win. I think this exercise is who we are predicting to win. And I'm probably gonna go with the Charlotte of OCW. And she's won the ladder match before. Her win-loss record is pretty lean towards the win side, and she tends to always pull it out. So I'm going with Ashley Moore.
All right, very nice. Good stuff, Trey. Jinx, who my man, Steven Jackson, who you got?
I will be sitting here lying to y'all if I said that I did not want Junko to win because that's my total pick. So I'm agreeing on the Junko pick. However, if we're going by uh just I guess this is like a luck of the draw kind of thing because like it was stated earlier that it really doesn't take a whole bunch of skill. It's just timing and who has the better opportunity to climb up the ladder and grab the briefcase. So I think it's just that really, as far as who's going to win, is really up in the air if you ask me. But my pick honestly is Junko.
All right, I'm gonna throw a wrench in this whole entire thing. I am gonna go ahead and not pick Junko and not pick Ashley, which have been the two popular ones so far, right? That leaves two more people in this match. So who
Who
are
you
those
got?
two people?
Sarah.
So I'm gonna. Well, we've got Sarah Moore, and who's the other
Mhm.
person? Who?
You got Skady.
Scotty. It's got to be Scotty.
That is true.
Yeah. So I think
Saying
Scotty's been
Scotty,
talking about
my bad.
fate. You're right. 'Cause I think she's done her whole entire thing. Fate, and I think Fate will bring her back to Marissa. They had a feud earlier in the year. It would make sense.
That's the thing. Like my pick is who I want to win is Junko. Who I think is gonna win, Charlotte wins. Else, you know what I mean?
Charlotte
Well, I
wins
mean, I
low.
mean
Ashley wins
that
low.
yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. All right, well, that was the women's future investment. We got, I believe, it was two Junko, one Ashley, and one Scotty. So the next match, Jinx, you can go ahead and abstain from this one. My man will be Jinx, the North American champion, defending against Russ Cole. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Trey on this one.
So you never want to count Rust out, but he likes to do his whole percentage thing. So I think it's going to depend on what percentage champion that Russ comes in. If he comes in at 100, I don't think he's going to beat Jinx. Personally, being in the ring with him, you got to go hard and you got to be all like invested in it. So I'm picking Jinx.
All right, Leo, who you got?
Well, you say not to ever count out Russ Cole in this situation. I'm gonna have to, because it's one of those things like the more things change, the more they stay the same. When I left OCW about a year and a half ago, Jinx was tearing it up. Fast forward now, and he's still tearing it up. Nigh unstoppable. I definitely think that it's gonna take somebody the caliber of your L Parkas or your B17 to get that North American Championship off of Jinx, and I don't think it happens tomorrow night or
Yeah,
tonight
actually,
as you
he
as
defeated
you're
All
listening to
Parka.
this. Yeah, I say that Jinx is going to be defending his championship successfully.
All right. Well, let me play the other side of this. Did any of you see the last Resolution match that Russ Cole wrestled
Yes, I
against
did.
Little Baby Man? And Little Baby Man tried to play games with Russ Cole in the build up to that match. And what happened? He got absolutely waffle stomped. He got his shit packed in. Okay. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen to Jinx, but what I'm saying is the style that Jinx uses and the mind games and all that thing, I think that's personally offensive to Russ Cole, and I think you're going to get the best Russ Cole that you've seen in probably quite a while when he faces Jinx for the North American Championship tomorrow. So I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to pick Russ Cole in the upset. He's gonna become the new North American champion, and I say that
All
in
right.
the upset. I mean, that's sacrilegious within itself. But anyway,
I don't think
so
that's a bad
that
pick. I get the logic.
no, I mean it's not a bad pick at all if we're really looking at it. But the next match is the women's triple threat Pride Championship. That would mean the champion Dragana Caesar against Beatrix, the challenger, and the other challenger, the eternal professional, the veteran Lotus Flojo. So let's go ahead and let's start with Jinx on this one since he didn't get to go.
Okay, so Dragana Caesar so far, since my tenure here, has just shown utter dominance. So it'll be kind of hard to sit there and be like, okay, just because the odds are stacked against her that she's going to lose. It's kind of, I mean, she's the silent queen is going to prevail in my mind. I mean, she's going to find a way to win. No discredit to the other two contenders, other two competitors, but Dragana Caesar, man, she's phenomenal. You know what I mean? That's my pick, and I gotta stick with it.
All right, let's hear from Leo.
All right, Pride Championship match. I think I'm gonna go like this is one of the matches that's like kind of like one of the bigger toss ups for me because for one it's not a straight up one on one match. Two, you have three people who I easily think could walk out of this with the winner with the championship. So I'm gonna flip a 3-sided coin and say I think Flojo is gonna be walking out with this. I think Flojo is gonna take the W.
Wow. All right. So we have one for Lotus Flojo, one for Dragana. Trey, what do you got for us?
I got Flojo winning by roll up after Dragana hits a finisher. That's what I'm gonna call.
Oh my god. See,
That's the only thing that could beat
Oh
Dragana is a
my.
roll up, and that's what I'm feeling. So
Well, okay. So if anyone saw the interview that Dragana Caesar did and dropped, I believe it was earlier today. Yes, today being Friday, it needs to be yesterday when you're listening to this. Uh, she said in the interview or it was said in the interview that this is actually the Caesar's longest championship reign out of any championship reign between her and her brother. I don't know if
really?
anyone knew that or not. So I think that Dragana's finally reached a point in her career where she's got consistency. in terms of what she's doing, and I don't think that changes. Dragana Caesar walks out, she always goes over brother 10 out of 10. 365 days a year. So that's where I'm sticking with it. That would be the shocker of the night if she loses that title for me. That would be the biggest upset of the night. The next match we have is Clickbait against Junko, who I don't know if Junko's getting paid twice tonight or what's going to happen. I would not want to go through tables and chairs and ladders and whatever other weaponry that these women are going to pull out in that first match and then come out and compete again the same night. That's just me personally. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it that I think Clickbait wins because Junko is beaten to bits because the women's match, I believe, is the opener. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Clickbait wins this. So let's go ahead and talk to Jinx.
Give me 1 second, please. I'm sorry.
All right, you're good. So let's go ahead and let's hear from Trey then.
All right. I know Junko's gonna go in this match a little banged up, but something for me feels like Junko's whole personality and her essence will not let her be defeated by Clickbait. So I'm gonna go Junko.
All right, Leo.
Yeah, I'm kind of in somewhat the same boat as Trey, where in a normal scenario, I think that Junko would have this match hands down. However, yeah, because of the previous future investment match, which I still think that she would have won, but she'd be coming in still kind of roughed up. I think that I still think that Clickbait's gonna win. Yeah.
All right, you good, Jinx, or you want us to go to the next topic? Next topic it is. The next topic, the next match we have going on is the OCW Tag Team Championship match between the champions, Underground Elite, recently promoted wrestlers, to against Cold Front, very much a veteran
Sorry,
tag
fellas.
team
I'm
at this
here.
point. All right, you got a winner on Junko and Clickbait before we talk about the next match.
Honestly, I think Junko may be tired from the future investment match. Clickbait seems to be, a little crafty in the ring. Crafty as far as on the image as well. Shout out to him. Clickbait is my pick on that one.
All right, so you along the same lines of thinking. So anyway, we were talking about Underground Elite versus Cold Front, OCW Tag Team Championships on the line. Let's go ahead and start with you, Jinx. Let's let you go.
Okay. I honestly think that the run that UE is on right now, seems to be, rising. It's playing its course right now. Um, I would have to say that I think this little fiasco that they got going on right now may come to an end. Um, a cold front for the win.
All right, let's go ahead and hear from Trey.
So coming in, I've been with observing Nate Mac's career pretty much the whole entire time he's been here. So I've known how often the undisputed tag team titles have eluded him. I know that Samson is a prep guy, and I'm fairly certain these guys have been strategizing and planning for months, and they kind of called UB out. And I'm wondering if the newly minted wrestlers are going to be prepared for these veterans planning and picking their spots. So I'm going to pick Cold Front.
Leo.
All right. World Tag Team Championship match. Now, as much as I hate to do this to Iceman because I absolutely adore Nate Mack, I cannot in any sense of my good nature bet on John Carter. Underground Elite all the way.
Bet on John Carter.
I'm confused.
Am I confused here? Oh,
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
yeah. I'm tired. Excuse me.
It's
Excuse me.
Samson
Well, I
Smith and
mean,
Nate Matt Cold Front. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, John Carter has kind of been involved in their business, in all of their business in some way, shape, or form, whether it be Marissa business or, you know, him trying to take a
Okay.
liking to Gabe and, stuff like that. So you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
It's Cold
Yeah.
Front and Uwe.
Yeah. It's Iceman and Samson. Apologies. Okay. Yeah. In that case, yeah, I can bet on Iceman then. Cold front all the way.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the champs. I think they're gonna retain. And I think all the things you guys have said have been really, really on point. About how they prepare. We know Samson, is the literal gym rat of the combat center. Like
DM Punk.
literally,
DM Punk.
DM Punk. But the whole entire thing and that's and that really works to your advantage to a certain extent, right? Being ready for these types of matches. And I even seen Nate does the work as well. He's there as well. So when it comes down to it, I think Eddie and Gabe have a really good chemistry. And they've been working together since day one, basically, for both of them, outside of, like Eddie's short time before Gabe showed up, right? So they've been working together for a long time. I don't think that tag team chemistry is something that I think they've garnered in a way that will propel them past Cold Front. I mean, Cold Front is a good team, but it'll be a tough loss for them if they lose, because this will be their second opportunity at the tag team titles. Obviously, they weren't able to take them away. Previously, I believe it was from Mass Effect. And now this would be against UE, but I've got the champs retaining in this situation. We have Cheryl. Is it Cheryl Sticks next?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Cheryl Sticks versus Marissa. I don't think this is a women's title match. I don't know. It doesn't
It's
say.
booked as a confrontation.
Okay, so honestly, I expect this to probably not, just to be more of the same with these two. But all right, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. But let's go ahead and start with Trey. Let's go ahead and start with Trey. Whatever you think this is, Trey.
Hoes be tripping, and they gonna be crazy. That's my prediction.
Leo.
Personally, I'm thinking that this is gonna end up turning into a match of some sorts. Whether or not it's for the championship, I'm not sure. But in the event that it is a match, I'm not sure. This is another one of those toss-ups, even though it's a one-on-one match. I think I'm gonna have to root for Cheryl Sticks in this one.
All right. What do you think, Jinx?
Shit. Yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
All right.
it's a real fun feud, to be honest. Just to be quick though, because I'm being prompt. I might have to go with Cheryl Sticks too. It would just be fun just to keep this going. That's the only reason why I'm picking her.
All right. Look, Cheryl didn't seem to have a good history as far as being able to repel sturdy women like Marissa. So I'm gonna have to pick Marissa, as much as that disgusts me. I'm sorry. Yeah, the thought. Anyway, Marissa is gonna end up, winning whatever this is. And going on to whatever her next thing is.
Marissa wins,
Whether
and
that's
America
more of
loses.
this. Well, the people lose, so it's more than just America. It's the whole entire world.
The whole entire
So,
world going global losses.
yep. The markets are gonna crash.
If Marissa wins, we root for the bomb.
Well,
Make
we
it
should
be
root for the
clear.
meteor, actually, in the first place. That's really what we should root for there. But anyway, in all seriousness, these two put on some fun stuff, so excited to see what they have coming out here. On to our next order of business. We have the OCW World Heavyweight Championship being defended by the champion El Parka against the challenger from the Underground Elite, which I am, by the way, the only person who has the Golden Prophecy, if you will, still on the table. The rest of you pick Cold Front, so that will not be happening according to the rest of you. So, with that being said, let's start with Jinx. Who do you have taking home the OCW World Heavyweight Championship at Certified Greatness? Let's go ahead and start with Trey instead.
Alrighty. I am going to pick El Parka. I just think at this time he has more experience with his character. He's on the third longest running world title reign right now. I think it'd be a great thing if PD does win, and it's kind of like I think Parker is trying to do his best to give that torch up, but I know he's not gonna let it go without a fight, and I think he's gonna pull it out with another Trouble in Tijuana.
Leo?
So this is really tough for me. Like I love PD Wheatstraw. I really do. I really do. But there's absolutely nothing you can do to convince me that El Parker's not gonna be walking out with that big gold around his waist.
You want to go ahead and throw in here, Jinx, or I'll go? All right, I'm going to go ahead and go. Now, as far as PD Wheatstraw is concerned, I'll kind of peel back. I think like this is dogs, we're, PD's first opportunity at world title. I think it's a different animal, right? There's some things you learn in those matches, and you learn
Definitely.
in general in those situations that you kind of take moving forward.
If
So in that, it's tough, and don't get me wrong, there are some people that win the first time, but most people don't. So I think it'll be a learning experience for him. I think El Primero continues to reign, and he reigns this OCW World Champion moving forward. All right, that leads us to the CCW Championship, which is the champion B17 against Emp. Wow, never thought I'd be saying that for the CCW Championship. But let's go ahead and get started with Jinx, my man. Do you want to start?
I'm
All right.
around. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let's go ahead and start with Leo.
so, I believe this is the first time we've had a intergender match for any title, let alone a world title, which
I believe
thoroughly
so.
excites me. Thoroughly excites me. Um, However, I'm leaning heavily towards B17 retaining as well. I think that, personally in the case of B17, it just doesn't feel right for someone like him to lose the CCW championship anywhere but Resolution.
Okay. Very
So
nice.
I've got B17 winning.
All right. Trey?
Dear God, help us please if Emp wins this match. But I'm gonna have to go with Adam. I think he wants to go a certain way, and I don't see him. He always finds a way to pull shit out off his ass and win the match. So I'm gonna pick him.
All right. Jinx, you want to go ahead and make a pick?
Okay, I know I probably missed a few of them. All right, I'm kind of busy right now. My wife woke up
That's all
and
right.
food. So now I'm stuck to getting her food. Alrighty. So what did I miss? Please just tell me what I missed. I'll make it quick. I promise.
You're good. So I believe you missed the OCW World Championship. That was all you missed. And then we're on CCW now. So
Okay, the OCW World Championship is between Petey and El Parker. Okay, don't get me wrong. If Petey wins, it'll be monumental for our class. I'm not gonna lie. However, I honestly think it's too soon. Lights are gonna be too bright for him. It's gonna be El Parker that wins. I mean his reign is pretty supreme. And to be honest, if Petey was to win, not saying he couldn't fill the shoes, but that'll be a large shoe to fill. So that's my pick for that. Now the CCW World Championship, Imp versus B17. I mean, this is history. If I'm not mistaken, this is history in the making right here. Just the match alone, intergender for a very prestigious, championship. Now, if Imp seems to pull this off, it could be monumental. It really could. But Bingo, it's something about him, man. He studies you. It's something about him. I just think Bingo was going to win it, and that's my pick right there.
all right. I mean, he's been a great. Never mind. I can't say that. Okay. He's been a great TCW champion. And I hate him so much. Fuck you, Adam. You're a piece of shit. I love you. I don't know. Look, when it comes down to it, they've built this story. They've got a story to tell. And look, I'm gonna say Emp wins here. I think only for the reason of y'all picked B17, and I think she's got a shot here. He's obviously the favorite, but I'm gonna pick Emp. I think that she makes history, and in history-making moments, she always steps up and does the big thing. I
God
mean,
help us.
to be honest with you, I wasn't. I think a lot of people weren't sure whether she was going to beat Heather Angela or not. You
I'm
know
just
what I
saying,
mean? And
you saw that celebration for when Nate won the international title.
yeah,
Okay,
I
imagine
mean,
her fucking budget if she wins the CCW belt.
well, the company's going out of business, but that's a
JJ's gonna have to go
JCS
bankrupt.
problem.
Jay's gonna have to take out
Well,
some loans.
that's a JCS problem. That's not a me problem.
Your check's gonna
So
your check's gonna bounce. That's a you problem.
well, listen, I can go to the cash register at the pay window and make sure that my money's there. But also everybody's going to be paid in DNS coins soon, so don't
Oh,
it'll be one of
Jesus
Oh
those things.
Christ.
Lord.
So anyway, so I think Amp wins, and we're gonna digress to the final match of the evening, which is the Future Investment Ladder match, the men's rendition of this, which has the participants of John Cartier, Sports. I'm blanking on one of the other names. I'm gonna have to look real quick.
Beaver.
And Deaver, and then we've got one more. You're
Devon.
so
Devin
Devin
Flash.
Flash, yes, the Devin Flash. I actually predicted that he would be in that match and win that match too, so I feel pretty good about that. His qualifying match, I should say. But this is a very interesting qualifier. So let's go ahead and let's start with Jinx. What do you got, my man?
Okay, so my initial pick. All right, so I had two people. I remember saying this in chat. I had two people that I wanted to see win. I'll either punk ass Q boys, schoolboy Q, or Flash. Now, if I had to pick one, I'm a root for Flash. Okay, I'm rooting for Flash, but I don't. It's something about Courts, man. He gonna find a way to win that shit, man. It would be better for his story. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Leo.
All right. I have a reason to hate all but one of these men. And for that reason, my pick will be in escorts. If anybody else wins except for Quartz, it will hurt me to my very soul. I will never emotionally recover.
Oh boy, Trey.
So I don't want Quartz to win because I think he's going to go nuclear, and it's going to be entertaining if he does not win this match. Because if he wins, he's going to go out to B17. That's what he's saying. I want to see what happens if he doesn't. Like, is he going to delve further into his madness? I'm going to pick Deaver because he might as well fucking win if he kicked me out of it. That's all I'm going to say.
Damn, you stole my pick because I'm gonna pick Joe Deaver to win because it's the randomness of a ladder match. It just so happens like Joe Deaver is gonna fucking hop on top of it and he's gonna win. He's gonna go in there. He's
the
gonna get
chaos.
it.
Chaos. He has a title match against.
So Joe Deaver wins the men's ladder match and immediately declares that he's gonna face Emp at SummerSide. That is my prediction.
Why would you
Okay.
ever want something like that?
Because I want, just
he
like
looks
I
the
want
worst
like
thing.
Tiberius Dupree, I want to
Who
see
hurt you?
absolute and utter chaos. Like this is what I want to see. I want
That
to see
is
absolute and utter chaos.
that is the worst timeline.
Hey, I want to see it. I want to see it happen. So let's make it happen. So speaking of big predictions, let's talk about one non-spoiler, something you're personally not involved in. Potential big prediction. It's like, you can go out on a limb, if you will, for certified greatness. Doesn't have to do anything with a match. It doesn't have to do with anyone who's in a match. If you want, just go out there. You got one big prediction, and that'll be, last thing we do on this edition of the pre-show. So let's go ahead and let's start with Trey. One big prediction, Trey.
Predicting a legend appearance by somebody.
Okay. We really went on a limb for that one, Trey.
I'm hoping. I know a lot of people don't, but I'm hoping the guy who the pay-per-view is named after actually shows up. So
Oh, okay. So that's a better one. Okay.
It's in Baltimore. Certified Greatness. What about RD Money Greatness himself? You know what I mean?
Yes. All right, so Leo.
All right, I'm gonna go a little bit more somber direction. I want to see the fracturing of a stable.
Well, mine's already
that's
done, been
specifically-
fractured and rebuilt. So don't leave mine alone.
I want to see somebody turn their back on their brothers. It would be good. It would be good to have that be like to see something like that, something big in the second pay-per-view I watched since coming back.
Okay. All right. So, Jinx, what's your big prediction for the evening? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and share mine, and we'll see if my man is here. So my big prediction for the evening is that because Joe Deaver wins the FI and PD Wheatstraw loses the OCW World Heavyweight Championship match, it creates a division within the Underground Elite that eventually leads to the dissolution of the Underground Elite. So Parker, or Leo, whatever, you might get your way after all to what you were hoping for. So, or at least the beginnings of it. So that's my prediction. Yui starts to go on the wayside, and that's that. Any final words, gentlemen? Thank you for joining. Any final words?
Okay. I think y'all was doing predictions. Big,
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. So I just one prediction. I think it was already said though, but I'm gonna go ahead and share it. I want to see one of these teams turn. Like, say either UE loses. No, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I mean, either Cold Front loses. All right, don't get me wrong. I know I predicted them to win, but what if they lost and somebody like either Iceman or Samson one of them turn on each other's back. I don't know. That's just an example. It could be that or something else as far as somebody kind of like I said, it was being said earlier. Like I want to see a turn somewhere, maybe just to
I'd
put
rather
me at
see
the edge of my seat.
I'd rather see Bay or Bay Bay or someone cause clickbait or something like that. But I hear you. All right, that's a good prediction there. So, gentlemen, again, thanks for joining me, Leo, Jinx, Steven, Trey. This has been the OCW Certified Greatness 2025 pre-show. I was your host, Jim, and it looks like it's probably about time to get started with the pay-per-view now.